Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTube fam. How is everybody? Who's here? JC is here. Oh, computer. Hold on. Okay. I'm back. How is everybody? Let me know you're here. Who's here? Who's here? I'm a few minutes or well, I'm 1 minute early because I had to, make sure everything was functioning. It's been, so long since I've done YouTube live. I forgot how to do it. Oh my God. Hello, everyone. Matthew's here. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Sherry. Cece. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Lashandra. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Diane, Carol, Jody. So good to see so many of you. It's so great to be back with a YouTube live. I'm very, very excited. Very excited. So we'll just give it another minute or so since it still says 6:59 on my computer. Roberta, Rachel, Lisa, Nate's Tarot, good to see you. Jennifer, Jody, so I don't want to miss anybody. Crystal, Pegs, Regina, Keith. I have settled into the new place, Diane. Yes, thank you for asking. Jane, and we, of course, Miss Ariel's here. Yelena, hello. Thank you for that lovely sentiment. Wendy, hello. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Keitha, and again, if I say your name wrong, please forgive me. Oh, Jennifer, that's so sweet. Angel Ariel. I love it. Yeah, here she is. She couldn't wait. She was like laying all over everything. She was laying all over the book. She was laying all over some of the questions that people submitted for the Q&A. So we'll look at those. We'll look at those first. Hey, Kaylin, good to see you. Joanna is here. Joanna's in the house. Capability Brown, good to see you. I'm seeing some familiar names that I know used to come to a lot of the lives, so that's very lovely. Colleen. Oh, thank you, Colleen. Rolling Rainbow Thunder. Yay, you're here. RG, you're here. Yay. Yelena. Okay, so I love this. This is so great to be with you guys. Brenda's here. Yay. Kimberly, hi. Yes, it is the new moon in Aquarius officially. And tomorrow Uranus goes direct. Oh my gosh. So Taurus people, just stay home under the covers tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's an astrology joke. Okay. Sean, good to see you. Good day to you also. You are coming from the land down under. Michelle, good to see you as well. I'm glad that you were able to come to the live. Susan, hello from Chicagoland. Yes, Uranus. Crush 41 GB, good to see you. All right, so I'm not doing, readings tonight. We're here tonight to talk about the astrology of 2023. I do, as I said, I have some questions people have submitted. We will talk about anything else that comes up in the comments. Also, I wanted to talk about the creative writing process. I know a lot of people who watch the channel are very creative individuals. Some of you I know are writers as well, so we can talk about that. I have a few questions about that to address. Linda, good to see you. TNT. I will be getting back to readings for the channel. I've had an eye issue. You can't really tell too much. Well, you can still kind of see it a little bit in there, but I burst a capillary, of course. I burst some sort of capillary, burst. I don't know what happened, but I felt it. It felt like something punched me in my eye. I'm like, what the heck was that? And then I looked and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So it was, really terrible. You can see it's still kind of there, but thankfully it is healing. I have some, things going on. I have terrible eye allergies. I have to be very careful with my eyes. So I think part of it was, it's wintertime here. So a lot of the dry air. So I've gotten some humidifiers and that's been helping. And I'm already like a fiend with the dry eye stuff in my eyeballs with the drops and stuff. So, just bear with me with that. If I'm not on YouTube, I've been posting updates pretty regularly to my Facebook page. So if you're on there, you've been seeing those. But it looked terrible, which I'm so vain. I don't want to be making a YouTube video with an eye that looked like that. So That's part of it. I admit, I'm very vain. So anyway, videos will be coming back soon. And now that I am feeling more, more grounded and more zen, I am going to be bringing back the birthday lives. And I'm going to start with Aquarius because the last time I did a birthday live was with the Capricorns a year ago. So to be fair, I'm gonna start with Aquarius. I haven't decided on the date for that yet, but of course you will know. And so we'll have fun. We'll have fun with that as well. I really did enjoy those. But honestly, guys, like last year was just crazy, right? I mean, I know a lot of you all had a lot of challenges in 2022 as well. So, it just was not practical, honestly, for me to be doing lives for about a year. It just was too much going on. So now that things are a little more, we want to get back to that because I love lives. I love interacting with y'all. Okay. Lisa, good to see you. Ayana, good to see you. Legion's dad, good to see you. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Again, my eyes, just, bear with me on that. Ayana, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel great. It was just the eye thing, which kind of took me by surprise, but maybe that was the universe's way or my body's way of saying, you've been working too hard. Slow down, rest your eyes. Maria, hi, good to see you. Patty, oh, I'm so glad you made it, Patty. Let's see. Michelle, yes. Aquarius in the house. Yeah, it's my left eye, so I'm not really sure what that's all about, but that eye always seems to give me more issues than this one. Whatever. 2022 was a storm cloud, JC. Absolutely. Betty, good to see you, Betty Shepherd. Yay! Okay, so without too much further ado, let's discuss. I know some of you have already gotten the book. I left a link for it it's a pinned link up in the live chat or up in the chat. Hi, Andrea, good to see you. So it is available on Amazon. It's just easier to put it on Amazon because it's a worldwide distribution, and you can also get it in Kindle format. But it's also in paperback. And I tried to make the font a little bigger because I know people have eye issues or a little older. Reading it is just easier to read that way as well. Yeah, can everybody hear me? Patty, can you hear me? I think everybody can hear me. Yeah, Sherry, right? It's like a mystery, like how these things like occur on like certain sides. Oh, Diane, I'm so excited you got the book. So this is, if we were, at a bookstore or something, we'd all be doing I'd have a reading, right? And I'd be up there in the front with a little podium, and y'all would be in little seats, like at, your favorite little bookstore, and we'd all have coffee, and it'd be like really, really like just like chill Zen vibe. So that's like kind of what we're going for tonight. So I know a lot of you have the book already, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the astrology. I was going to maybe read a tiny excerpt, but I will leave that up to you if you want me to do that. So yeah. All right. So Rolling Thunder, Rainbow Thunder says she just got the book, and I'm assuming it's a she, maybe it's a he, sorry, and just started reading it. Love it. It is easy to read. Thank you. Okay, great. Okay. All right. Yeah, everybody can hear me. All right. So Patty, maybe check your settings on your computer or your phone or whatever. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't like to assume. I just assumed she, right? But I shouldn't have done that. Okay. All right. So do I have any writers in the house? I know JC. JC would like me to read a bit. Okay. All right. So how many Capricorns do I have here? I know I have a few Aquarians. I have a Cancer. I know. I have a Leo. I know. All right. So who do we have? Tell me if you're a writer. Tell me. I know I have a Taurus in the house also. Because I'll read some excerpts. I have a Libra. Okay, great. I don't want to read read a section maybe that's a little shorter. I don't want to leave anybody out though. Okay, so we have Leo, Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio. We kind of got everybody. Okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, lots of Leos. Okay. Big full moon coming up for Leos, beginning of February. Nate has thought about writing. That's good. Okay. Virgo rising, Capricorn, I write a little. I write children's books. Okay. So yeah, I love talking about writing and publishing the bit that I know about that. So if you've read the book, you are aware, if you've gotten to that part, that that I have taught writing for, over 20 years. I have 2 degrees in writing. Not that that and 50 cents get you on the bus, as the saying goes. But I mean, I've been writing since I could hold a pencil. That's like one of my earliest memories of making these big, E's in script writing on green paper that my mother used to bring home from her job. And with a 3rd house sun, that's very typical. People who have very strong 3rd, 5th houses, or strong, of course, Gemini or strong Mercury in their chart tend to be leaning toward the creative writing spectrum. So 3rd house sun, definitely all about communication, writing. I used to say I was born like with a phone in my hand. Also love talking on the phone, all that. So, so I just want you to know, I do have a lot of experience in this field. So I'm happy to answer all sorts of questions about the writing process. And, I'm not as well versed in publishing. I mean, I have had other things published. I know about publishing on Amazon, self-publishing on Amazon, so I can talk to you about that as well. So, it's just up to what y'all want. But maybe what I'll do, you think about it, okay? You think about it, and I'll start answering some of these questions that I have here, okay? And then you think about some questions, and then we'll come back to those. Okay, so I'm just going to go in the order that I received these questions, and then we'll get into what else y'all want to talk about. Okay. So this is from Judith. I'm just using first names here, who is a Scorpio. And she would like to know if her 4 streams of income are going to support her financially so she can leave her current job. Okay, well, I can't answer that without looking at somebody's chart. But I can say that, of course, Jupiter transiting through Aries from now until the middle of May is very beneficial for Scorpio because it's in their 6th house. Now, this is, of course, if you have Scorpio rising, and I don't know because I don't have Judith's chart, but this can bring expansion and opportunity, obviously, because Jupiter is going through that 6th house. So, we'd have to look at the specific chart. Excuse me. But what I would say, my very practical Capricorn nature, I would say Capricorn rising nature, I would say with Jupiter, it's all about this expansion. And one of the challenges with Jupiter is that more isn't necessarily better. Enthusiasm is good with Jupiter, of course. So I would say of those 4 streams, which one do you feel most called to really passionately pursue instead of, trying to do 4 different things? Again, this is all I know. I don't know anything else. So I'm kind of flying a little blind here with this question. But, maybe instead of expanding into 4 things, maybe narrow into 1 or 2. That's what I mean, again, I don't know her chart, but that's what I would say. But Scorpio, if you're Scorpio rising, you have good energy behind you to, pursue some sort of passionate new opportunity in your career, in job, and also with your well-being. Okay. I have another question from Joanna, who is still in search of a creative job while working an office job. Should I abandon that search and just find a more stable day job, or should I continue trying? Okay. So Capricorn rising people are going to have Jupiter as of May 16th in their 5th house of creativity. So again, my practical Capricorn nature is always like, don't quit your day job. Like, do the side hustle, do the other thing. I know it's not always easy to balance all of our different pursuits and our interests and our home and family and all those things. But Capricorn, you have some of the best energy creatively for new opportunities, new possibilities, really maybe some sort of teaching or performing opportunity or a mentor coming in or a publishing opportunity from the middle of May onward. So I would say maybe focus in your, creative energies a little more in that time frame. You're going to have Capricorn's going to have, of course, has Jupiter right now in the 4th house of home and family and roots. So again, just speaking in general, keep performing, JC. That's what I psychically feel for you. Is to continue to keep performing. And get out of the house. Okay, and do that. Okay. All right. I'm as I said, I'm going through these questions I had either sent to me. I think most everybody emailed me. Okay. This is from Rolling Rainbow Thunder, who's here tonight. But that's okay, Tiana, if you're writing in your journal. That is the source of a lot of rich creative inspiration that you could turn into some sort of book if you want. Okay. All right. That's a great. That was good. That was Elmer Fudd. Mary B, that is a great question. So we will get into that. All right. Let me answer this question by Rolling Rainbow Thunder. I would like to publish a book, a collection of my poetry. Do I need an editor and publisher? Okay. This really depends on your own skill set and your own background. Let me answer the first question. Do I need an editor? All right. I don't need an editor really, in terms of I don't need a copy editor. I've taught English grammar and writing and punctuation and all of that shenanigans. Like, I know that in and out. Like, I don't need that. Okay. Now, I might want some sort of developmental editor. If I was writing a bigger book, or a different type of book, I might want a developmental editor to make sure that I had in all the pieces that somebody not familiar with something might need. That's different. They help you develop the content of the book. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a podcast interview. I'm not sure when it will air, but I will leave the link for y'all when it goes live, with somebody who I really highly recommend as a developmental editor. She's fabulous and a sweetheart person. So it depends. It really depends, on your own skill set, your own background. It's really hard, when we're so close to a topic, and it depends on what you're writing too. But oftentimes we're so close to something and we get so enmeshed and immersed in it, we cannot see outside of it, right? It's like, because your own story, everything so much in your head. And sometimes how it gets translated to paper is a little different than what you think was going on up here and how it lands on the paper. And so having somebody else, an objective third party, read it is very, very beneficial. And I say objective because friends and family will just be like, oh, that's a great story. Thank you. They don't know. This is where it's valuable to have somebody who does this, who's objective third party, and whose energy you resonate with also. Like, you shouldn't just have anybody read it either. So, Lisa, yeah, Gemini moon. My eye just fell on your comment. But the key, Lisa, the key with the Gemini, all right, here's the key with Gemini always. I don't care where Gemini is in your chart. You must have two things at all times going on. So Lisa, if you're just focusing on one topic or one book or something, like, make sure you have two projects going on. All right. So, all right, wherever you have Gemini in your chart. Okay. All right. I'm sidetracking here, but all right. So it just depends. It just depends on, your own background and what you need. But having an objective third party is very, very helpful. Okay. And giving you that feedback. Okay. Now, in terms of a publisher, here is another, again, it depends on your individual situation. It depends on, what's the purpose of writing this book? Yes, I like writing about astrology, of course. I mean, I love it. It's fun for me. But I also wrote this book to help y'all, of course, navigate the energies. And I saw a lot of great energies going on for the year ahead, and I wanted to share them. But also I was hoping, honestly, with I'm being, you know me, I'm very honest. I was really hoping that putting it on a large platform like Amazon would help me, of course, grow my YouTube channel, grow my audience, just grow in general. So it had all of these, it had all of these motivations behind it. It wasn't just one thing. But so you can self-publish absolutely on Amazon. It is not hard. But then, because you don't have a publishing house behind you, you have to do, well, even if you had a publishing house behind you, you have to do a lot of the legwork yourself. You have to do a lot of the promotion, the marketing, all of that. Okay. So having a publisher doesn't mean it's all going to be, sunshine and roses either. And it just depends on, what you're trying to do. Now, Rolling Rainbow Thunder, you're doing poetry. That's what my MFA is in. My MFA is actually, thank you, JC. I appreciate that. My MFA is actually in poetry. And again, I love poetry. That and 50 cents will get you on the bus, like I said before. Not a lot of people read poetry. I mean, people read poetry, yes. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that at all. And again, it depends on, if you already have an established audience or, the type of poetry you're writing. So go for it. I mean, I think self-publishing is excellent because you're you have the project under your own control. You don't have to deal with some shenanigan. And you don't need a degree either. I'm just saying that, I published 2 chapbooks of poetry also. But they are not currently in print. So, I mean, and those were with publishers. So I can speak to both sides of the spectrum here. And you don't need a degree to do any of this either. I'm just saying I can speak to some of these things. I've been in this world for a long time. That's the only reason I'm mentioning that. Okay. It's not like that somehow makes me better or anything. Not at all. Okay, just establishing, that I have credentials in this so that, I'm not just talking out of my bum. All right, you know what I'm saying? All right, so definitely you can, do your poetry, self-publish it, but also know that just putting it on Amazon, right, doesn't mean either that you're going to get sales. You have to be willing to market it and put it out there. Like, do you have a mailing list? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have all of these things? Okay. So, which feels like another job really. But I think it's a great thing. It's a great experience. So all of it just depends. Do you need an editor? It depends. Do you need a publisher? Not necessarily. And depending on what you're publishing, you can sometimes do better for yourself doing it yourself in terms of making money. That's true and a lot of publishers, unfortunately, not a lot, but some publishers are really feeling the pinch economically. And I know Amazon has its pluses and minuses. I'm not here to, disrespect Amazon, but Amazon publishing through KDP is a good opportunity because, there really are very few upfront costs. I mean, I did invest in a publishing program to format the inside of the book, which is called Atticus, which is excellent. I'm not affiliated with them. So it's really easy to use. I designed the cover myself because I love doing that type of work. So for me, the cost was very, very minimal. It cost my time, right, to write the book. And then I think it was like $100 and some odd for that program to format the inside, but it also formats the Kindle version. So it's money well spent. It's easy. So, these are the upfront costs are very minimal to publish on Amazon KDP. And you do get the exposure and the ease, the fact that it's on Amazon, right? So yes, if you enjoyed the book, thank you, JC, for pointing that out. If you enjoyed the book, and thank you, 1969 Magic, as well, for your super chat. If you enjoyed the book, if you could put a little review on Amazon, that would be very helpful. Okay, so Rolling Rainbow Thunder. Why not? It's such a beautiful feel. It's such a beautiful feeling to hold your own book in your hands, right? It's just a beautiful, a beautiful feeling. So why not? Why not do that for yourself? And to, to help it. I mean, this world needs more healing poetry. Absolutely. And if you're into poetry as a healing art, check out John Fox and Poetic Medicine, which is a great book. And he also has, oh God, the name is escaping me at the moment. I think he's based out in Colorado now, but I can see the book cover, right? But the name is totally escaping me. Okay, but check out John Fox and Healing Poetry. If you just Google him, you'll find him. He has He has 2 books that are excellent when it comes to Poetic Medicine. There you go. Thank you. Yes, though he has 2 books and they're excellent for anybody who loves writing poetry. A lot of great writing exercises in both of those books. And even if you're just like wanting to write poetry for your own personal self as a way of your own healing journey, it's great for all of that. So, yes, she does. Isn't that funny, Lucy? I know. We are twins. So I hope that answered your question about that. Okay, in terms of the kind of Rolling Thunder, also the kind of support I had, my support was myself in writing and producing this book. But also I am a part of a business coaching group. And about a year ago, this group had a self-publishing kind of mastermind class or whatever. And it was very motivating. It was very inspiring. And it reminded me how much I missed writing, that I hadn't done any writing in a long time. Excuse me. So that was very, very motivational for me as well. So go for it, Rolling Rainbow Thunder. Why not? Right? Why not? And then, make sure you email me and let me know when your book is out. Okay. Okay. All right. I have another question from Vale and Ali. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry. Again, it's just like stupid allergies and all the things. Yes, it absolutely was Diane. It was Diane was with me in that. It was great. Okay, Vinali, I published a book a few months ago, and it was interesting to see the astrological influences along the way, confirming the path as well as your readings over the past year. They were so accurate. I'm an Aries Sun, Sag rising. How do you find the book writing process? What's the most enjoyable part for you? I really love all of it. I do love all of it. So in terms of writing process, I think it's really important for you to discover your own process. And for me, and you work with your Mercury for this. All right. So let me know where's your Mercury at, everybody? Okay. Where's your Mercury at? I had another question too. I saw something about Amazon before. Ashley was asking about low content books such as journals. Yeah, I did. I also did a low content book a couple years ago. I removed it from Amazon. There's a lot there. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do these things, but be aware of what you also have to do. Be aware of what's going on. Okay, be aware of your motivations and be aware that sometimes the first time you do something, you got to try a couple more times for it to be successful, and don't give up. All right. So in terms of the low content books, the Amazon is flooded with them. And in fact, now Amazon is not giving ISBN numbers to low content books. Now, what you're like, okay, well, what the heck does that mean? Okay. So the ISBN number is on the back. Okay. And that allows people, like if this was in a bookstore, it would allow somebody to scan it and whatever. But you have to have content to get an ISBN number. So low content books, most of them are just a pretty cover and just lines, right, to write in, like journals and stuff. So those don't get ISBN anymore. And there's so many of them on Amazon, unless you have a really unique niche that you're creating a journal for, or the cover is like really like outrageously cool or something. your time would be better spent, in my opinion, in writing a medium content book. So you could still do something like along the lines of a journal, but include more of your own writing in it. Okay. In whatever topic that you're looking for. So if you can try to create more of a medium content book where you can at least get the ISBN number, that would serve you better, because Amazon is flooded with these low content books, just flooded with them. So, that's my opinion on that. Okay. So we're talking about the writing process. So in terms of where is your Mercury? Okay. Yes, I have read Mary Oliver. Yes. Dream Work is a good book by Mary Oliver. Yes, I am too, Nicole. Good to see you here on the live. Okay. So where is your Mercury? That's what you need to look to in terms of your, the way you're likely, because there's other things to take into account, but the way you're likely to conduct your writing process. All right. So JC, all her books are high content, like hundreds of pages. Okay. All right, so we have Mercury. We have a couple Mercury in Pisces. We have some Earth energy. We have Mercury in Scorpio. So we have some water Mercuries I'm getting here, and I'm getting Earth Mercuries mostly. Okay, so Earth and water. So my Mercury's in Taurus. So, and it's in my 4th house. So I like to really, sink my roots deep into a topic. So I like to really immerse myself deep into what I am doing. So I need an immersive experience where Mercury and Taurus, it's like, planting, like you get your hands dirty, right? It's like you gotta get in there. So, and of course, Taurus, very sensual, sensory experience. So Mercury and Taurus people, in my experience, or maybe I'm just talking about myself here, I don't know, but blinders on. All right. Like, I don't know. Let me know, other Mercury and Taurus people who are here. Can you write in a coffee shop? Let me know. Mercury and Aries, I don't know. I don't know if you could write in a coffee shop. You'd be like, but Mercury and Aries probably gets a lot of good ideas while you're like working out, while you're on a treadmill or something, while you're in motion. Okay, so Mercury and Taurus is because it's fixed energy, right? It's like once they get fixated on something, it's like blinders are on. They don't hear, see anything else. It's like, there you are. So I personally really like, hanging out in coffee shops. Yeah, see, you're walking your dog. Yep, Kathy, right? Okay. Yeah, so it just depends. I was going somewhere with this. Yes, it is print on demand, Andrea. Yeah, no, Nicole, I have a good friend who has Mercury retrograde natally in her chart. And when Mercury is retrograde, and she's a writer, when Mercury is retrograde for her, that's like her most productive time because she has natal Mercury retrograde. But she finds that she has to go over and over and over something. And it gets her frustrated sometimes. But I think, Nicole, if I'm remembering correctly, I think you have Gemini as well, right? In your chart? I think so, what I've seen in the comments. So as I was saying earlier, wherever you have Gemini, you need to have 2 things at all times that you're dealing with. Yeah, so Cancers, naturally attuned to homey spaces, Colleen, right? Homey spaces, like coffee shops, like a friends type coffee shop, right? Now we're not talking star effers here. We're talking about like the local homey coffee shop with the comfy sofas and, like it's very homey. Okay, yeah. So what is your, really look at where your Mercury is and how that would influence your own writing process. So For me, I like to be really immersive. And also, I think earth signs and Mercury earth signs, we like structure, right? So I don't rebel against an outline. Like I like to know, and yeah, I used to not like outlines when I was younger, but now I love them. And maybe that's also my Capricorn, my Saturn. I like the structure. Now it doesn't mean I have to adhere to that religiously. Like I can, do whatever, but I like to have a sense of my framework. It's very helpful for me. But again, this is me. This is the thing. Like when people ask for advice about writing, from writers, it's like they're looking for some sort of magical key, which I get. I mean, I did the same thing when I was younger, right? And I love to talk about writing and hear from other writers. It's fun, right? But ultimately, there's no secret key that somebody can give you. It's your own way and your own process that you figure out in doing the work, in doing the writing. So go do it. That's how you're going to learn about your process and what you need, right? The other thing too is, because I get so fixated, I need large chunks of time. I don't like writing something for 10 minutes and then I got to go do something else. Mercury and Taurus does not like that. Maybe another Mercury sign wouldn't care. They could write down on little index cards, dash something off, and then go run and do something else and then come back to it. Again, find out what works for you. Okay. Pisces, you may find Mercury and Pisces people may find that, and I have a book around here somewhere. It's called Write While You Sleep. You may find that you do your best writing at night while you're asleep. Like give yourself something to work on before you go to bed. And the moment you awake, even if you're not really awake, take the journal and just write it all out. All right. So morning pages could be very, very helpful for water signs to do. So check out Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. Look at morning pages. That could be very helpful for you. So yeah, I mean, really, there is no one size fits all, as JC was saying. It's like you really got to find your own process. And what in the bathtub for Pisces, absolutely, Lisa, that's excellent. Going down to the beach, writing by the water if you can. So find what works for you. But like I said, I like large chunks of time. Other people may not like that, etc., and so on. But yeah, I like everything about the writing process, honestly. Maybe I don't always like, if I had to pick one thing I don't really like as much, I would say the copy editing. It's like boring. Like, I got to proofread this. Well, I mean, I do it, but she's right here. Ariel's right here. Yeah. And the thing is too, is like, it's okay, like to give yourself permission to go through long spells where maybe you don't do any writing. Sometimes we need to take a break from things, and there's no point in beating yourself up about, oh, I didn't write, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. I mean, it's really okay. But I would say, even if you're not working on a project, like writing a book or writing, a short story or whatever, at least try to keep a journal somewhat consistently. That's one thing I would say is a really good piece of advice to take hold of. To really just get your thoughts out on paper, just get stuff out of your head that's bugging you, just like, and that keeps you, at least you're in the loop of writing, even if you're not actively writing, like I said, a story or a book or something else. All right. So, it's really okay. Don't like beat yourself up. Oh, I didn't write. I didn't do this, but more writing leads to more writing. So it's good if you can keep up with at least a journal. It's helpful. All right, I'm just checking in before I move on to the next. I had a question there somewhere. I know, Tiana. I know I had to not say the bad word. Okay, Nicole's saying she has to handwrite everything. Okay, yeah. So when I went to the coffee shop to start the draft, the notebook actually that I wrote it in, I can't reach it from here, but when I went to the coffee shop to start this, I didn't start writing this. I immersed I sat there with my refillable cup of coffee and my goodie. Of course, I had to have something sweet with it. And I had my phone with me, and I just scrolled through the online ephemeris, and I looked and I charted out every month of the year the major aspects that I was seeing. So that was my way of kind of like immersing myself in it. And I did it by hand because there's something magical, in my opinion, again, about writing by hand. It's connected, your brain is connected to here, like it seeps, again, a part of my immersion experience. It like seeps into your soul and spirit, I think, a lot more quickly. There's another word I want. A lot more quickly, but also more permanently, maybe. Thank you, JC, for your super chat. So I think it's really good to do that. I've kept a journal also. I've handwritten journals. I've typed journals. So again, there's no like right or wrong, but I do think there is something beautiful about handwriting. And I have a lovely fountain pen that I've had for many, many years that I use. And it's just a beautiful aesthetic. Again, this is my Mercury and Taurus. It's an aesthetic experience. I like those good Italian journals with the thick paper, because then the ink doesn't leak through to the other side when you use the fountain pen. That's the Mercury and Taurus, the luxury angle, right? The sensual feel of the paper. So, you figure out what works for you. All right. I'm just seeing what else we have here. Okay. All right. I think I got all those questions. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand that, Nate, right? Why did they stop teaching cursive writing? Like, nobody's going to be able to read it. It's going to be like a secret code for us older folk who know how to do it, right? Nobody's going to know how to read it, which I find really sad as well. Okay. I think okay, this is a good question. JC is asking, journals pile up. When do you start throwing them away? So as y'all know, I moved not once, but twice in 2022. Actually, technically 3 times if we're counting that other move. Okay, but anyway, well, I guess it's just twice. So I had so much paper from 20 years of stuff, right? So much. So, I had to make some decisions because I was like, I'm not carting all this crap around with me. Yes, writing in color is fun too. I did that for a spate in the early and mid 90s, Nicole. I have all these journals that have I was in love with these certain type of pens, and I would write in all these different colors. Anyway, so JC, I had these binder notebooks that were like this thick with typewritten pages of stuff when I was really processing through a lot of really just trauma after my mother died. And I was like, am I ever going to really want to reread all that? Like, I kind of learned what I needed to learn from all that. The writing of it was, thank you, Sarah. The writing of it was, whatever. Yeah. So Maria, I didn't have a way to burn stuff. So I burned out one paper shredder. I had to go buy another one. So I got rid of those because I was like, I don't need that in my life. I don't want that energy around. Like, I'm never going to reread that. Now, there's other journals I have that is from my time in the 90s when I lived in Manhattan, also when I was living in Connecticut. And that has a lot of just fun and funny things in there. And I did also free write, creative writing exercises, all that type of stuff. And yeah, those I'm sure, although there are some cringe moments in there, I could see myself looking at those again. So I kept those. So I think, again, it just depends. Diane, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, so Maria, right. Maria saying you should never reread them. You have cleared the writing in it. Yeah, exactly. So there's certain things again, I didn't feel I needed to keep that. Yeah, so it just, it's again, it's what is right for you. Yeah. Like how will people sign a check? That's a good point. Um this is interesting. Capability. I love this. I walk my journal around a labyrinth and throw it away every year. That's so interesting. Yeah, they have that. Like, who did that? Who did those? Wreck This Journal. Was that Carrie Smith or something? I never bought one of those, but they looked really interesting to me. The Wreck This Journal, like you write in it and you mess it up and you do all these things. Like, it's really it's really cool. Um, okay. Yeah, I mean, I like that writing captures the essence of a moment, right? Because when we have, even though my memory's fairly good, I mean, when we have so many things going on, it's easy to not remember those tiny details. So that's why I love that. And in fact, one time when I was traveling abroad, I carried those little moleskin notebooks with me to write different things. And I was writing notes in the middle of this lecture on Turkish carpets, right? And there was this Canadian guy next to me, and we got to talking after the lecture was over, and he's like, "Do you not have a good memory? Like, why were you writing down like everything the guy was saying?" And I was like, "Well, because he was saying these things that were really interesting, and I didn't want to forget anything." And I still have that notebook somewhere. But the way the guy was like explaining the different things about the carpets and the way he was phrasing certain things, like you wouldn't remember that exact phrasing. At least I wouldn't. So it's not that my memory is bad, but it's really you capture the essence of that moment. Again, like a photo does also. So anyway, interesting stuff. Okay. All right, here's another part of this question from Vinali. I know there's a lot happening this year. Which astrological event or influence do you find the most intriguing for 2023? And what do you think about Saturn moving into Pisces? Okay. So, what do y'all think? What is the most intriguing astrological event for 2023? I'm not sure about intriguing, but I would say that I am just so happy. I am just so happy that Jupiter is in Aries right now. That's all. I mean, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that it's finally the new moon in Aquarius, that Mars is direct, oh my God, that was like a nightmare. That Mercury is finally direct as well. Um, Jupiter and Taurus is going to be interesting. I'm excited about where Jupiter is this year, I have to say. Although I feel kind of bummed that we don't have a full year period. I mean, we do, but we don't with Jupiter and Aries. Because remember, Jupiter was in Aries last May through July-ish, right? Well, wait, when did he go back? No, then he went backwards in July. So he's still in there. And then he went back into Pisces. Well, I'm thinking October, September, October. Anyway, we're not having a full year run straight of Jupiter and Aries. So I'm kind of bummed. Kind of bummed about that. But really, guys, now, as I mentioned in the book, now is the best time between now and April 20th to really work on anything you want to get launched, right? Anything new, right? Because Jupiter's in Aries. All the planets are direct. Uranus is going direct tomorrow. So this is like, get it done, get it out there, get things popping. Because then, we have things happening. We have things happening the rest of the year. Of course, planets going backwards. And then, and I think Venus retrograde in Leo, along with the Mercury retrograde in Virgo, is going to be an interesting and an intriguing time period as well. Both of those going retrograde in such kind of different areas. And of course, Virgo does rule Mercury. Obviously, Mercury rules Virgo. So that's going to be interesting. And we have them overlapping at the end of August into the beginning of September. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Pluto going into Aquarius is going to be interesting also. I kind of got on a soapbox about that in the book because I was really, writing about how it's going to have a lot of influence on our on our technology and what it means to be human. So, we'll see. But yeah, I think that I answered that question. Let's see. Yeah, but Capricorns across the land are breathing a sigh of relief to have Pluto out of their sign, at least temporarily, at the end of March through, what is it, July? Don't quote me on that. I can't remember everything. Am I going to write a book for each individual sign? I have been thinking about that, but I've been thinking about it in a different way. Ariel's doing her nails on the sofa if you hear something. I am only one person, and I love making videos, obviously. I love being on the YouTube channel. I also see private clients. You know, I do appointments. So, I mean, I'm very, very busy. And to write a book for each individual sign that would only last a year, like if I did a year ahead just for Aries, and to write 12 of those books and have them be substantial enough, because I wouldn't feel right about just writing a 25-page book. Like that's not enough, right? So that would just be too much for me. So I've been thinking about it in a different way. So I've been thinking about maybe doing something where it's more a celebration of each sign, with some, like, you know, journaling prompts, affirmations, different things. And then also like a longer range horoscope forecast looking deeper into the future. So, you know, something like that. And I might put them, maybe those would all go in one book. I'm not sure yet, but that's where I've been kind of, you know, thinking along those lines. So yes, so I am likely going to do something with writing for y'all, but that's probably not going to happen until maybe the summer, because I have some other things that are happening. And again, I'm just one person, so I can't do everything. Okay, but I mean, I love doing all the writing. It's the same thing, like, you know, I switched to doing all sign videos because honestly, guys, like it got too much to try to crank out. And you have to do all the processing for the videos and all the descriptions. Like all of that takes so much time. Like unless you've had your own YouTube channel, like people don't realize. And so actually putting the signs all in one video made it so much easier for me just time-wise. So it's, you have to prioritize and figure out what's the best use of your time and energy. It's not that I'm not interested in all of these things. It's probably because I'm also interested in too many things. I have to be selective. Okay, Nate has a question here. If you use an indie publisher, do they print a certain amount of books first to sell? Is that the main difference between a publisher and using Amazon? Yes, they usually do. It depends, though. Again, it's always like depends. The first poetry chapbook I had published was a collection with some other poets in the same book. And the press is no longer in existence. But I believe, and I don't know how many copies they published initially on the first print run. So, and then the second chapbook that I had published was through a publishing entity that would only publish a certain number if you pre-sold a certain number of books. And so that kind of annoyed me, I'll be honest with you. So it depends. You have to investigate very carefully. So again, for my personality and my temperament, and also because I do have background and knowledge and I can do stuff myself. So it's, not hard for me. I'd rather just do it myself and put it on Amazon, honestly. So it just, it depends. But I'm not saying publishers are all bad. They are not. But I think people don't realize the limitations of publishers. Especially in today's market, today's day and age. Like I was just reading, what was I reading? The person who made the Crow Tarot. Where was I reading this? I don't know. I don't remember where I was reading this, but hi, Javinder, the person who made the Crow Tarot. I don't have the Crow Tarot, but it's a pretty popular deck. she was saying that she only got, like, for publishing her tarot deck. Okay, now of course this is different, but publishing her tarot deck through a publisher, the first one, they only paid her like $4,500 up front. And then that's in lieu of royalty. So like once she sold, so they paid her the $4,500 up front. And then the way it works with some publishers is that you have to sell that amount, like, to pay back the publisher. And then if there's more sold on top of that, you get a percentage of the royalties. And that varies with the publishers. So this person who created the Crow Tarot said, I think, I don't know where I was reading this. She said, you know, the next deck I made, I published it myself. Like, the heck with this. You know, the heck with this. I'm more in control. I could, you know, you make more money, honestly. So, you know, again, it depends. It depends on what you're doing. Depends on your goals. Some people might want to go with a bigger publisher, hoping for more exposure. Again, when you're self-publishing, so much of it is on you in terms of the marketing, the publicity, you know, all of that. So yeah, JC saying she worked at Random House. She's been in the room. It is very cutthroat. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Yeah. So doing it yourself, you know, but you know, I'm a stubborn Aries, and I got my Capricorn. So, you know, I need that piece of paper. She's getting mad because I need the piece of paper. Okay. We have another question that was emailed to me. I hope Matthew is still here on the live chat. Okay, let's see. Matthew asks, I have a desire to plot my natal chart. However, I do not have access to certain information. This is very common, right? This can happen for people. I know the date and hour of my birth, but not down to the minute. I also will be unable to find the latitude, longitude of the building where I was born. Okay. Well, I'm assuming you know the city where you were born. Can you advise if I will still be able to build a reliable natal chart given the info I do have and determine my ascendant sign? I know many astrologers believe the ascendant sign is equally as or even more important than the sun sign. I, for one, love the sun because I'm a Leo. Okay. So, all right. So here's the deal. There are different house systems that you can use. I prefer the unequal house system, but that's just me. Some people use the equal house system, meaning that everything starts at 0 degrees. So if I have 6 degrees Capricorn rising, which I do, no, you have 0. My first house would start at 0 Capricorn. And then that's whole sign houses, equal house system. Okay. But that means then my sun is in the 4th house, not the 3rd house, which also kind of fits. So the way I kind of look at it is you can have the best of both worlds. You can look at your chart through both of those house systems and see which one you resonate with, but not knowing the exact minute may influence. It may be very important because let's say you were born on, well, you're a Leo, but let's say you were born on August 20th or 21st. So you're right, like you're in the last breath of Leo, let's just say, okay? If we don't know the exact time, you could actually be a Virgo, right? So yeah, they do all work. It depends on, you know, your own personal viewpoint and what you most resonate with. So, you know, so it you know, it's absolutely important. Now, so depending on that, you know, same thing. The moon sign could be like one breath away from being in the next sign. It's you know, depending on the time you were born. But I would say if you have a general ballpark, the date and hour, just go with that. Erect a chart, and you know, you have the city, so do the chart both ways. Do it unequal, do it equal. See which one really resonates more for you. Now, there is something called rectification, which sounds really technical, which I guess it is. You know, I don't do that. Some astrologers do. And what they do is they basically kind of plot your life backwards and figure out some of the major things that happen to you in your life along the way. They look at the transits, they figure out, okay, this is probably when you were born. So that's a whole thing that people can specialize in. I do not do that. All right. I don't have the patience for that, honestly. So that's what I would say to that. To me, it would be a little more concerning with this question if you were particularly close to the cusp of a sign, or if you're looking at your chart and the moon is like, again, just a hair's breadth away from another sign. So even if you're not born on the cusp, but you could be born, August 10th, and let's say your moon is Pisces, 29 degrees, 57 minutes, then yes, my gosh, the exact time of birth is going to matter, because maybe your moon's actually in Aries, right? So, it's just do both charts and see which resonates for you, would be my advice. Yes, it's great when we can have that exact information, Karen. Absolutely. Lisa says, I thought I was a Leo rising and was devastated when I found my birth certificate and found I'm actually a Virgo rising. Okay. Well, what's so bad about a Virgo rising? But you love it now. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Yeah, Leo rising, right? All the shiny, happy people, and then now you're Virgo rising, right? You're not the shiny, happy people. Okay. Okay, yeah. So it just, it's a good question. Okay. Okay, Betty says, normally I take my time, but since yesterday, I find a need of urgency to complete it. Things like incorporating my business, applying on grants, hiring staff, and starting my book. Yeah, you're feeling the vibe, of the energy's finally moving forward, Betty. So go for it. Like I said earlier, we got all systems go between now and April 20th. So very, very, very exciting to get things underway. I hope I didn't miss any super chats somebody else may have sent. I'm sorry if I did. Okay, hold on a moment, please. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. I think that was all the questions that I had. Does anybody have any other questions or things I might have missed earlier in the chat? Feel free to repost them. I'm just scrolling back up and see if there's anything else. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Like I said, I hope I didn't miss anything. Okay. Everyone said I should do one book with all signs. Okay. Okay. Well, I will keep that in mind. That will be another project for me to work on. Okay. Does it look good for legal issues regarding writing? I don't know what that question means, capability. So if you could phrase that a little more specifically, that would be helpful. Rolling Rainbow Thunder, thank you so much for the super chat. Lisa, what are all the ways we can get more of you? Well, I will be, like I said, now that my eye is almost better, I will be doing some more YouTube videos for the channel. I will be doing more YouTube lives. I'm putting together, I have a whole list of exciting new things that I am creating in the year ahead. So they will be forthcoming. This was the first important thing to do. So I wanted to really get that out of the way. I am currently working on another project that will be published on Amazon next month. So I'll let you all know what that is when that goes live. And then some online courses are coming. They're not really courses. They're like fun things to do. So that will be happening. And now that I have access to a community feature on my website, that will also probably be happening. Thank you, Carrie. And thank you, Brenda, for the super chat. That will probably be happening, like I said, with the writing group situation, but more toward the summer. Okay, not yet. Okay. Libra sun and rising. Will I be able to move this year? I don't know. I don't know your chart, but I would say Pluto's been probably, Pluto's been tearing up your fourth house of home, family, roots. So I would say that probably when he goes into Aquarius in March, there may be some rubber hitting the road and you're going to have to make a decision about that. Oh, you're very welcome, Rolling Rainbow Thunder. Copyright infringement issue. I can't really speak to that. I'm not a lawyer. Capability, sorry. Let's see. Mary B has a great question here. I'm a Capricorn sun, rising, Venus, Mars, all that in Capricorn, Taurus moon. I want to engage in creative pursuits, but that earth energy makes me feel like it's not practical and a waste of time. Interesting. Okay. How do I overcome that? So that's a mindset thing. Why would you, I mean, I don't know where that's coming from for you. That's probably, all right, I'm going to say that it is likely something to do with the internal critic, which we all have. We all got it. Which can cause writer's block, among other things. So that's some sort of belief or some sort of, internal critic situation that comes up for you. I wouldn't blame the earth energy for that, honestly. The Capricorn energy is the architect, is the builder of the zodiac. So Capricorn is a very creative energy, but think of it in terms of utility, if that makes it easier for you. I have Capricorn rising. I have Taurus Mercury. This was creative for me, but it also serves a very practical purpose in getting good information out to the people. So maybe it's the way thank you, Mary. Maybe it's the way you're framing it for yourself. Again, I don't know. This is just a quick answer off the top of my head, but that is something, for you to look at. But I wouldn't blame the earth energy. I mean, it's earth energy. It's about planting seeds. It's about being creative, and especially Taurus moon, which is such an earthy, sensual, like let's make babies and let's make things and let's go do arts and crafts and stuff. I mean, I don't know. Yes, we are going to do the birthday bashes again. I'm starting with Aquarius next month. Yes, writing group is coming. Website is stellawilde.com. Thank you, Patty. I'm glad. Yeah, you just got your book, so I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Thank you, Jay. The tea readers. Yeah, well, I was going to do tea leaf readings this week. Honestly, I had that on my plan. And this stupid eye, I was like, said this earlier in the video. I am not making videos with an eye that looked like I got, smacked in the face. Like, it's not happening. I'm too vain for that. So those are coming back. Okay, good. I'm glad that helps, Linda. I'm Capricorn, everything. We want to be perfect. Yeah, that can be part of the internal critic for Capricorn. Absolutely. Matthew, thank you, Stella, for answering my question. Yeah, Guiding Light, that's a great deck. I highly recommend these two decks back here, by the way. Both of these are excellent. They're by the same person. I used them in the 2023 year ahead oracle readings, which definitely check those out if you haven't, or I did one for each sign. So check those out. But yeah, these are such good cards. Carrie says, I'm excited with the change in the energy. I have been a deer in the headlights for years. Yeah, the energy is definitely moving forward this year. Absolutely. I mean, last year was just that grinding Uranus Saturn square. Like, it was just terrible. Every energy is creative. It's not just, earth energy is creative or fire energies. Every energy is creative. It's the way they go about expressing that creativity may be different. That's all. Every sign is creative. Every person is creative. And we all have within us creative life force energy that is there for us to tap into and bring out the essence of our own personal energy. Okay. I mean, water. So yeah, every sign is okay. All right. So let's pick a. If you all have any more questions, I'll pick out something to read from the book. Unless you all have more questions about anything, astrology, writing process. Yes, I am, Kathy. Yes, I am. Ariel is too. We are very happy. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find a piece I can read here, but I don't want to leave anybody out. If I can't read like one whole big chapter, and then everybody will be sad if I don't read their sign. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to find a piece I can read. Okay. All right. I'm going to read maybe this little bit on Jupiter in Taurus. How about that? Okay. All right. Well, we have more questions before I read. Okay. All right. Karen's asking, what about those different charts you mentioned? Okay. What about them? What question do you have? I'm happy to answer your question, but please be more specific. Diane, what was the biggest block you had to overcome? Do you have 20 years for me to explain that? I know. I will give you the short version. If I can. I love my mother very much. My mother and I were very, very close. However, my mother had a lot of problems. And in fact, I believe that she had undiagnosed mental illness. Okay. But anyway, my mother, I mean, she might have been a narcissist. I don't know. But she really wanted to like control and shut down people's feelings. Like, you can't feel that way. Children should be seen and not heard. Like, you know, all of these things. So it really was hard for me to individuate. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, I mean, I was always a writer. I was always writing things. My mother invaded my privacy. She used to read my diaries, my journals when I was younger. So I had to really overcome. My biggest problem was feeling like that I didn't have the right to express myself, that my feelings were not my own, you know, that I didn't have a right to say or feel the way I did, and that God forbid you expressed it, right? And that I was somehow, you know, bad, a rebel, the black sheep of the family, for, again, want of a better expression. I'm just, you know, sharing here. So that was difficult. And that individuation process really didn't commence for me until I was 29 at my Saturn, 28 at my first Saturn return. And yeah, I see a lot of you are relating to this story. I think a lot of people can relate to this, whether you're a writer or not, it doesn't matter. And my first Saturn return, I had read, okay, here's another great book. I went to the local thrift store in my town, and I saw this book on the shelf, and I'm like, what is this book? And it said Wild Mind, Living the Writer's Life. And I'm like, oh, what is this book? I need this book. And it was 10 cents. Bought it at the thrift store. And I read it that night, cover to cover. And it was written, of course, by the very great Natalie Goldberg, who's still around. And that book changed my life. And that book was like, you have permission to be a writer. You have permission to, no, she was a Pisces, Brenda. You have permission to, you know, write whatever you want, et cetera, and so on. That book changed my life. I found it exactly at the right time. And at age 28, I was like, this is now or never. Like, I need to go and do this for myself. So I enrolled. I had been in a graduate program to become a teacher, an actual like master's in education, and it just didn't feel right. Like I tried it. I tried a couple classes, and I was like, this is bullshit. Excuse my language, but I was like, all these like paperwork, and this is Aries, right? All the paperwork, all the junk, like who needs this? I just want to like teach people. Like this is ridiculous. So that wasn't for me. And really what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to write. That's what I wanted to do. So it was like my Saturn return. I was like, I got to do this for myself. So I enrolled in a master's program near me. I had to commute to do it. It was, I worked full time, did that on the side. And it was fabulous. And where I was living, I had a little group of women. We all got together like once every couple weeks, and we had a little writing circle. I mean, it was really fabulous. It was a beautiful time in my life. And I went into it for something for myself, because I had to reclaim a part of myself that had been shut down for so many years. So, that's what Saturn will do for you. Saturn's like, it's now or never. You're going to do this. You're going to grow up and take responsibility. Man, I could have spent my whole life, just blaming my mother, not writing, woe is me, all these things. I mean, but that was the start of my individuation process. And then, it continued. But even, we don't just like heal like that. I mean, even after she died in 2008, I mean, there still was a lot of stuff that got brought up, and, stuff I processed through. And I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But that there's a long story here, right, Diane, for your question, but that was my biggest block. This was my biggest problem. So yeah, but that Natalie Goldberg book changed my life. And this is the thing too, right? This is why I think writing a book is so important. I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Yes, of course, our egos, we're all like, yes, we want it, thousands of people to read our book or whatever. Okay, whatever. But, at the end of the day, we're not in control of it. Our book goes out into the world. Whoever reads it, right? But you never know. This is the thing that I love. You never know. In writing a book, it could reach exactly the person who needs it at that moment. And that to me is a beautiful, I'm going to get all choked up and start crying. That to me is like a beautiful thing. That, it is a catharsis, absolutely. But that book, I mean, really, books do change lives. Any type of really inspired art can change somebody's life. But having that tangible book in your hand, right, and taking it home that night and reading it in bed, and I'm reading the book and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like somebody got me, like somebody understood me and gave me permission to go do what I wanted to do. So, I mean, this was the thing. This was the thing. So yeah, it's not easy when you've been, a lot of you, Matthew's relating to this, Karen, is relating. But Diane, this is a great question because, if I hadn't gone through that process, I wouldn't have written this book. And again, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but writing this book was super easy because I don't have those issues. I love writing. I just tune in. I'm doing my thing. I mean, I knew what I wanted to write about. I immersed myself in the process. I wrote at the coffee shop. I did all the things that I learned how to do over many years that support my process. So I didn't have any blocks in writing this book. But, I've earned all of that. I've worked very hard to overcome a lot of that stuff. And, it's tough. It's tough when you've gone through a situation. I'm not trying to ask for like pity or anything like that, but I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard when you've grown up in that type of situation. But I think, sometimes when you're in those types of things, the type of situation, it does, it shows you how badly you want something also. And I wanted it badly. I felt it inside of me so strongly at that Saturn return. And that's the thing too, at your Saturn return, whether it's your first Saturn return or your second Saturn return, it's like, this is it. This is like, what is your soul crying out for? What are you going to commit to in order to bring out, your greatness? So yeah, it does make you stronger. Absolutely. So yeah, I hope that I went on a big story there, but all right, let me go back and answer some of them. Enough of my personal dramas. Okay, let's go back up here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going back. I saw a question. Where did it go? No. Yeah, definitely make the most you can, Carrie, of the energy next couple months, all of you. Private, do I do private charts? Yes, I do private readings. The information's on my website, stellawilde.com. Betty's asking, how important is the North Node? I'm a Gemini Sun, Sag Rising, Cap Moon, North Node Leo. Okay. So the North Node is kind of what you're growing into in this lifetime. South Node is what you already know how to do, where you feel comfortable. South Node is like usually, where you've earned your dues in a most recent past life. North Node is not necessarily what you're good at. It makes you uncomfortable, but it is what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So, the North Node Leo, again, I'm just talking off the top of my head here without looking at the chart. And I'm a very visual person. I like to see a chart in front of me, but, being comfortable being seen is very important for North Node Leo. And being seen also through the use of your creative energy. Susan is asking, can you have two rising signs? Can you have two rising signs? You can have, well, no, not really. You could have an intercepted first house. That is possible. But you would have to look at the exact rising degree. Okay, so here's an example. I always like concrete examples. So I have 6 degrees Capricorn rising, right? But my first house does not end at 30 degrees Capricorn. My first house goes into Aquarius because I use unequal house system. So do I have 2 rising signs because part of my first house is in Aquarius? No, my rising is Capricorn. Look at the degree. Okay, but you could have more than 2 signs in a particular house. Absolutely. It's called an interception. You can Google that. Okay. Will I give Ariel a kiss from Mary B? Yes, I will. Okay. Where do you find the ways to calculate the 2 different types of charts? I thought there was only one. I don't know where to find them. Okay. So if you go to astro.com and when you log in there and there's a pull down menu for the type of chart that you want. And you can say, I want equal house system, or I want, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head what they say, if they call it Placidus or something else, but you can Google that and see the different options they have, but they have different options for the charts. Okay. Yeah, so Nicole, you're coming up to your Jupiter return, which is the start of a whole 12-year cycle for you, right? When Jupiter heads into Taurus in the middle of May of this year. So that's good. Okay. I'm just going down here. Yeah, definitely recommend Natalie Goldberg. She has several books, but that Wild Mind, Living the Writer's Life was the first book I found. Lisa, how did you work and do school full time? Well, I've actually done that twice because I have 2 master's degrees. I've done it twice. And it helps to be single and have no life. That's very helpful because you just focus on those 2 things. It helps to be a Capricorn rising. So that's how I did that. Yes, writing is definitely a catharsis. Okay. What's Pluto in Scorpio like? Whoops, what happened here? that's kind of that's a long question to answer. Let's see. Carrie, I appreciate this comment. The book sounded like you were having a chat with me over a cuppa. Yeah, I really just want to have it be very, easy to read, easy to just flow through like I was just talking to you, keep it real, keep it just, that is my writing voice. That's another thing, right? Like you sound like yourself, right? Not trying to sound like somebody else. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. I think you would be a success at anything you attempted. Well, not ice skating, I can tell you that. I fell on my butt. Okay, I wish I had brought pen and paper to this video. I'm going to have to watch it. Yeah, the video will live on the channel, so you can write down things. Okay. Oh, excellent. Betty's doing dog treats. I love it. Okay, Danielle, I know that I'm supposed to write a book, but not sure about what. What are you passionate about? What are you so excited about that you would talk about like all the time to anybody who would listen? What are your beautiful obsessions? That's where to start in finding your subject. Just start. You don't have to be sure. Just start writing. Start with your beautiful obsessions. Start, just writing, research, write. Just start doing it. Okay. How did I learn astrology? If you looked at the front of my book, who I dedicated my book to, I dedicated it to Derek and Julia. And you're like, who are they? They were the authors of my very first astrology book, The Complete Astrologer, which I got when I was 12 years old, I believe for my birthday. And I had started, so I was in 7th grade, and we had started studying Greek mythology with Mr. Ash, my teacher, and I loved it. I loved the Greek mythology, and of course, Greek mythology, right? It's all like all the astrology stuff comes into that. So I was like, what is this astrology? Like, I'm into this. Like, what is this? And of course, I'm old. So, like that was back in the 70s, right? So that was like one of astrology's like heydays in the 70s. I'm so glad astrology and tarot are coming back around in the popular culture again. They never really left, but they're really having this renaissance, which I think is fantastic. So I got that book for my birthday, and that was the days before personal computers. So I was like drawing charts by hand. I looked at their book. I was like figuring things out. I'm like, how do I do this? And then there were astrology magazines at that time. There was Dell Horoscope and American Astrology magazine. And I bought those every month with the money that I earned from my little odd jobs. And then when I started working when I was 16, and my favorite thing to do on a Friday night was to get, it's always about candy for me, sweets, right? So I was like, I get a candy bar and my American Astrology magazine. And there's also a few Vogues in there and Cosmopolitans. And just like, reading my candy bar and reading my American Astrology magazine back to back. And I read that magazine for years. So I taught myself. I've taken a few classes along the way too, not on like how to read charts. I've taken some classes on some like very specialty like type things about astrology, but I basically am self-taught for many years. Again, like for many years. How do you figure out your Saturn return? Okay, so your Saturn return, the first one happens usually between age 28 and 30. I'm going to do a video on the Saturn return. I'm putting together a little mini workshop on it because I think it's really important to get a handle on your Saturn return, whether it's your first one or your second one, or God bless if it's your third one, because that means you're like 90. So the best thing to do that quick in a nutshell advice, figuring out your Saturn return, is getting serious with yourself, like being brutally honest with yourself and being absolutely serious with what is important to you right now at this juncture. Saturn rules time. We don't have all the time in the world. We like to think that we do, but we don't. So be brutally honest. Like, what are you really wanting to commit yourself to do? What do you really want to be doing with your time? And then being disciplined, Saturn, and making a plan, having a structure, and investing the time, Saturn, into building that for yourself. Okay, so that's in a nutshell, whether it's your first one or your second one, doesn't matter. Victoria says, hi, love your readings. Thank you, Victoria. What do you like better, Western or Vedic? I have not studied Vedic, so I cannot speak to that. I've only, grown up on Western astrology. I understand why Vedic is used because there's things with the planets have shifted time, like all that. I get why that's popular and etc. Okay. But I do not have a background in that. So I use Western. I can't speak to that. Lisa says, I want to manifest a friend like you to have coffee with. That's very sweet. So Mary B, she knows that book, The Complete Astrologer. Okay. Juicing and health. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm a Capricorn sun and Cap rising in Western astrology, but in Sagittarius, sun and rising in Vedic. Which one is accurate? Again, I'm not here to say one is better or worse than another. Whatever floats your boat. You decide. Betty says, I bought the Dell magazines too. I did too, Brent. It's like, I'm so glad you all know what I'm talking about. I used to love it. American astrology I liked better, though. But what I really liked about those magazines, especially American astrology, is like people would write in with their questions. They don't publish this anymore. I'm so sad they went out of print. But people would write in their questions about and give their time and date of birth and all this, and then they would construct charts and they would give answers based on, and it was fascinating to read how they would analyze the chart. So I love that. Yes, Linda Goodman. I almost I love Linda Goodman also, and Michelle, and I also was a big fan of Sydney Omar, and I almost dedicated the book to all four of them, but then I was like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm insane. So I just kept it to Derek and Julia, the original, the OGs of my astrological journey. Yes. Using energy, don't let it use you. Is that how it goes? Yes, it does. That is how it goes. Carrie O'Shea. Okay, let's look at, unless you guys have more questions, I'm going to just look at this like if we were at a real reading. Okay, Jupiter transits Taurus. This is golden opportunities. I'm just going to read the first couple of little paragraphs here, not each individual sign. Okay, Jupiter enters Taurus on May 16th, 2023, and will be going direct at full power until September 4th through December 30th when he'll retrograde. As previously noted, Jupiter is about expansion and limitless possibilities. And in Taurus, he wants to deliver the tangible golden goods. Yes, he does. Ruled by Venus, Taurus appreciates the finer things in life. And as the domicile of the second house in the general astrological wheel, Taurus is about your money, resources, values, security and safety needs, and self-esteem. Jupiter in Taurus reminds you that what you desire also desires you. Joy is an aphrodisiac that amplifies the law of attraction. Money is, after all, simply energy, and Jupiter in Taurus encourages you to do what you love to create the prosperity you seek. You don't want to be a person who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing, the definition of a cynic, as penned by author and playwright Oscar Wilde. Indeed, cynicism is the antithesis of Jupiterian energy. Jupiter in Taurus reminds us of the value of investing our time and energy into happy pursuits, to be patient and kind with ourselves as we grow into our greatness. When you truly love yourself, Venus, and proceed in your endeavors with a loving heart, you shift your energetic frequency. In so doing, you create a more optimal environment for abundance to manifest. The key with this transit is not to simply pursue wealth for wealth's sake, but rather to pursue the energy of wealth creation, which is love. Jupiter can bring faith to your life and help you believe that you are worthy of life's golden opportunities. And this transit should give you plenty of those if you understand and work with the spiritual vibration of wealth creation. The feel-good factor comes first, and then the money will follow. Okay, so that's just a little excerpt from the book. So you get a feel, like Carrie was saying, like it's just like I'm talking to you, just like I talk here on the videos, right? Not a lot of crazy astrological lingo, but trying to make it really, accessible for people. Okay. I would like Daniel's. I would like for you to say Sagittarius. The dance was you do Capricorn. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any other questions? Anything that I can answer before we say au revoir for tonight? Karen's saying, what if your North Node is contradictory to other things in your chart? I don't know what contradictory means. Yes, exactly, Michelle. Everything in a chart is a growth opportunity. Even the things we don't like. It's especially the things we don't like. So, I would maybe reframe that. Is it really contradictory, or is it you just don't like it for whatever reason? I don't know, because I don't know what your North Node is and I don't know your chart. So, okay. Nate says, I found the complete astrologer on eBay. Yeah, there's copies out there. I don't think there's any on Amazon anymore. You can also look on AB Bookman is also a used book site. I think that's the name of it. But yeah, eBay probably has them. Yeah, but that's it might be, I mean, just word of warning, Nate, it might be really like a product of its times. It might be it might be really, I mean, I don't know what happened to my copy. I don't have it anymore. So it might be a little out of date, the content and stuff, but when back in the day when I was 12, I mean, it was just amazing. My little 12-year-old self just fell in love with it. I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, it has kind of like cheesy drawings and stuff, but I mean, back then, like I just loved it. I just loved it. Okay, so DJ's saying, I've written a couple children's books and a few short stories, but terrified of sending them out to publishers. Well, then don't send them out to publishers. Publish it yourself. Why give your stuff to somebody else? You do it for you. North Node is in Pisces and 10th house. Okay. All right. So if your 10th house is Pisces, here's the thing, right? Saturn's going into your 10th house. And this is for people who have 10th house Pisces. Saturn in your 10th house is usually a time. It can be a lot of work going on, yes, but it can also be a time of more renown, more opportunity, more I don't know, I hesitate using the word fame, but more acknowledgement in whatever you do for your job. So it can be a time of harvest, in other words, when the Saturn is transiting your 10th house. So this would be a great time for you to use the Saturn energy of discipline and focus, especially for your career, 10th house, and put it out there. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. And there's also, I mean, you can Google on YouTube videos, to watch about children's books is not something I know about. So I can't speak to that, but people have self-published children's books on Amazon. So you can, and I'm not saying you have to do Amazon. There's other things, other publishing. You can look at Blurb, you can look at Lulu, you can look at, there's another one that I can't remember right now, but I mean, there's other possibilities for you too. You don't have to use Amazon. They're not the be all end all, but it is, they make it easy, and it's easy for people to find the book and buy it. Yeah, that's good advice, Lisa, viewing the nodes as a polarity. Nate's liking the arty seeing in the pics. Good. It's a trip. That book is a trip. Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so fun to like hang out in bookstores and do readings and have coffee, right? But it's good that we can hang out here for a little while. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. I don't know what time zone you're in, but I'm so glad you popped in to say hi. Okay. Okay. So if your 10th house starts at 15 Pisces, then you got a little ways to go before Saturn will cross over that 15-degree mark, Nicole. So you probably have about a year-ish. I don't have the ephemeris in front of me, but but get it together. Get ready for that. Okay. Yes, wine, coffee, chocolate, whatever we got going on is good. So DJ saying, thank you, third grade school teacher, and appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you too. All right. So I will be back soon on the channel with some videos for the month of February. We'll do a live, do some more lives, and yeah, we'll make it happen. So thank you all so much. It's been such a pleasure to hang out with you and chat, spend some time together. And for all of you who have bought the book, thank you so, so much. I hope that you find it valuable. And what I really had fun putting together the monthly breakdowns and looking at the days that might be good for everybody. I, of course, paid attention to make sure I didn't choose void of course moon days. And I had some other little secret tricks I used to figure out the days. But, you know, that was kind of fun, too, to give you a little heads up on good days for your months ahead. So okay, so thank you guys so much. Stay tuned. And also, if you haven't, you know, because who knows the way things happen with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't watched your 2023 Epic Year Ahead Oracle card readings that I did, that I posted, I think, in November, definitely check those out as well on the channel. They're there, you know, somewhere. If you somehow missed that, you know, those are fun. Those are fun to look at. So thank you all very much for showing up. Nate, thank you. Rolling Rainbow Thunder, thank you. Betty, thank you. Michelle, I'll see you at the Aquarian birthday celebration, I'm sure. I hope. Brenda, thank you so much, Brenda. And Patty is saying, it's excellent. Thank you. You're excellent. You're all excellent. Okay, so go start writing your books. All right, the teacher in me is here. Go, that's your homework. Everybody go write a chapter. Until next time, okay? Don't let anybody take your voice away from you, ever. All right? You have the right to tell your story. All right. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.